my loves, welcome back to my channel. My name is Deandra Nicolette. If you're new to this channel, my love, we talk all things spirituality, lifestyle, wellness, literally all the things to become your best self and manifest your best life, your dream life into this specific reality. So I have been seeing this trend going around where people are talking all about how to become that girl. So based on what I'm seeing, the aesthetic, the vibes that all of this content is giving, that girl is the girl who is healthy. She's all about her spiritual health, her mental health, her growth in this lifetime. She's all about becoming the best version of herself that she can be. And she's gonna do so in a really positive and healthy way. So this is kind of what inspired today's video. We're chatting about 5 healthy wellness habits to become that girl in 2022. So my loves, sit back, relax, enjoy the video. And of course, if you enjoy it and you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. And if you're already subscribed, or even if you're not subscribed and maybe you don't want to subscribe just yet, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up to show that you enjoy this content and you like it. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive into 5 healthy wellness habits to become that girl in 2022. So the first habit that I have to mention is taking your vitamins daily. Now, I know this one is kind of like, okay, why are we talking about vitamins? Like maybe you guys expected something a little bit more aesthetic, but let me tell you guys, taking your vitamins is not only imperative for your actual body, for your body to function at its peak, it's gonna show up in your looks. You're gonna have much more of a healthy glow because your body is working at its peak performance. You're also gonna show up much more focused, much more in tune with the world, and your mind is not gonna be as foggy. You're not gonna find yourself getting as groggy, things like that. Before I set the intention and the goal to take my vitamins daily, I remember that I would struggle sometimes in the morning to be focused. And I know that this is kind of like a general thing that a lot of people are struggling with right now because we are in year 3 of a global pandemic. And so it is kind of hard sometimes to focus, to tap in, to work, to do all of these things that we're normally used to doing because we're doing so under a lot of emotional pressure and a lot of emotional turmoil. However, I will say that once I started to prioritize taking my vitamins daily, I noticed a huge difference in things like the way that I looked. My skin was definitely a lot more glowy, a lot more supple. I already have pretty good skin, but you know, it was taking it to the next level, baby. It was giving it an upgrade, okay? And that was just coming off of taking vitamins and not necessarily doing things like facials and all that good stuff. I also noticed that I was much more focused, much more in tune with what I was doing with my work on a day-to-day basis. And another thing that I noticed as well is that taking my vitamins daily really helped with my digestion. I struggle a lot with bloating, and I remember asking my mom about this, and she was telling me too that she struggles with the same, and she also used to struggle with the same when she was my age as well. So I literally am that person that when I wake up in the morning, my stomach is just not really on flat. I just tend to have a little bit of bloat throughout the day. And I noticed that once I started to prioritize taking my vitamins daily, specifically a daily probiotic as well in the mix of all my vitamins, that I noticed a difference with my digestion and also with the bloating. So to become that girl in 2022, yes, we want to focus on the aesthetic and we want to focus on beautiful things and becoming the main character of our lives. However, the first big thing that you really have to focus on is your physical health. How are you treating your body? How are you treating your vessel? Don't sleep on the vitamins either, especially if you're in the midst of working on bettering your diet. Taking vitamins daily is going to help you to supplement your diet with all of the things that you are missing on a day-to-day basis, especially if you're not eating as many vegetables and fruits and things like that. Okay, my second tip to become that girl in 2022 is do a life audit and cut out all of the things and the people that are no longer serving you. Cut out the things and the people that aren't bringing you joy in your life. Now, I know this is definitely easier said than done because a lot of times if you work in a really just not great workplace, it's kind of a toxic workplace, it's easy to say yeah, I'm gonna quit my job and I'm gonna find a job that makes me happier, or I'm gonna quit my job and I'm gonna work for myself. However, I will say we do spend a lot of our time at work, literally 8 hours a day on the weekdays at work, 40 hours a week. That's a lot of time if you really sit down and think about it. So being at a place that you hate, or being at a place that's really toxic where there are people that are just like not nice to you, that are just taking and sucking up all of your energy, is not going to be good for you in the long run. It's not good for you right now. It's not going to be good for you in the long run. So do an entire life audit. Look at the places in your life where you feel like you are being drained. Are there certain friendships or relationships that you are investing your time and energy into that aren't pouring back into you in the way that you want them to? Are those people that you can maybe be honest with and talk to and kind of let them know how you're feeling? Or have you done that and they haven't responded in a positive way, and you're sitting there pouring into these people, like literally giving them your soul and getting nothing back? I think that when you do a life audit, a lot of times you are gonna find a lot of areas where you need to cut things off, where you're not gonna wanna cut things off. You're gonna wanna stay at the job because it feels safe and because it gives you that paycheck. You're gonna wanna stay in that relationship because you don't know what happens if you leave. You're gonna wanna stay with those friends and that friend group because you've known them for 10 years and you're just afraid of if you're gonna find other friends that know you like they do. But I will say that one of the things that is like huge about being that girl is having the confidence to know that you are gonna be okay, and you are better off without the people and the things that are sucking up your energy, taking up your time, and not treating you like the queen or king that you are. So literally do a life audit. It will be kind of hard. Make an actual list if that's helpful for you. I'm definitely a visual person, so making lists is like really big for me. But do that audit and think about like, what are the things that really aren't serving you, and what are the things that you really feel intuitively that you need to cut off in order to move forward in your life in a more positive way. Okay, my next tip for becoming that girl in 2022 is to adopt a hobby that is not just rooted in goals. This is one that I had to really come to terms with because I'm such a goal-oriented individual. If you're familiar with the Enneagram, I'm an Enneagram 3, which is the achiever. I love a good goals list. I love like a plan. I'm just like very type A, like love a good list, love a good Excel sheet, that kind of thing. And so I got to the point where I realized like a lot of the things that I was doing in my life was just always related to a specific goal. Now, while I love that and I think it's beautiful to be driven, and I do think that part of being that girl is to be driven, be confident, really have a vision for your life, and really be the type of person that's gonna go after the things that she wants. Life is also about enjoying things, being pleasured, and creating pleasure for yourself in your specific reality. So adopt a hobby that literally has nothing to do with anything except for the fact that it makes you feel good. For me, that is reading psychological thrillers. I've talked about this so many times on this channel, on the podcast. Like, y'all know I love me a good psych thriller, baby. Put me in a book where it's a murder going on and I gotta figure out who has done it, and I'm living my best life reading that book, okay? And one of the things that I noticed is that I've gotten into reading a lot of like business books, spirituality books, self-development books, which is beautiful because from that I grew a lot. I learned a lot. I've created so much content around this topic and these topics because I love it so much. However, I also realized that when I was reading those books, like I felt like I was always in this place where I was learning. Like I always felt like I was in sort of like an educational mindset when I was reading those types of books. When I started to lean into reading psychological thrillers at the start of the pandemic, it really brought back that childlike fun of reading for me. Like, I don't know about you guys, but when I was a kid, I would literally sit at the dinner table reading a book. Like, you would catch me reading at the dinner table, at the breakfast table, before bed, after school. I read so much and I read so many books because I enjoyed it so much. And one of the things that I wanted to really return to was that childlike love of reading. When I started to read books that I actually enjoyed, not because they taught me something or not because it would contribute to my business or my content in some way, but simply because I loved it, I found myself enjoying like that moment right before bed where I get to crawl into bed and read my book. I love that moment of the day so much. It can literally be as simple as reading certain types of books that you used to love when you were a kid, or writing poetry. Like, maybe it's not that you're gonna publish a poetry book one day, but maybe you just want to write some poetry just to get your words out on paper, just to express your emotions. So really find a hobby that fuels your soul and fuels you as a person, and trust me, you are gonna show up in the world in such a more beautiful and poised way because honestly, you're having fun. Like, that is part of life, is you have fun, so do that. My next tip for becoming that girl in 2022 is to show yourself the same amount of love that you show others. Now, this is gonna go out to all my empaths, okay? My people pleasers, my people lovers. If you are the type of person where you love to love on your friends and family, like you're the person that everyone comes to talk to because you give the best advice, you're the shoulder to cry on, you're the person that when things are like chaotic and all over the place, people are coming to you to be their sense of calm, their sense of peace. I love that for you. I love that for me too. However, when that's a thing, you have to remember that like you have to pour into yourself as much as you're pouring into other people. So show yourself that love. And I think when it comes to self-love, like yes, there's the aesthetic version of self-love, right? There's the getting the facials, getting the massages, going shopping, buying coffee. Like I love all that stuff. I do all that stuff for myself all the time. Like treat yourself is definitely, you know, my mantra as a Taurus. Like I treat myself a lot at this point, but you know, that's besides the point. So I do think you have to pour into yourself as much as you pour into others. Now that can look like giving yourself the compliments that you give out to others so freely. Compliment yourself. What do you love about your physical features? What do you love about your mind, the way you think? What do you love about your soul and the way that you love? Like tell yourself those things. Then it's not cheesy, it's not corny. You don't have to sit in the mirror and do it if you don't want to, because I know that can feel a little bit weird at sometimes. You're kind of like looking into the mirror and you're like, you know, I love you. It can be awkward at first, but you know, you can just like incorporate this into your everyday life. Like I know whenever I get dressed and I put on a really cute outfit, I do my hair, I'm like, girl, you did that. Like, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I see you and I feel seen by myself. So show yourself that love that you show to others. Like it's important for us to love up on ourselves because like I said, because that's definitely going to contribute to that confidence. That's definitely going to contribute to the way that you show up in this world. And I don't know about you, but if you have like seen someone who truly loves themselves, who truly like loves up on themselves, they show up with such a beautiful aura and they're just kind of like that person. Like they walk into a room and you're like, who is that person? And it doesn't have to do with like, you know, anything physical about them. It's just the way that their energy is. And the reason they show up that way to us and the reason that we are so drawn to those individuals is because they're not afraid to love upon themselves. They are not afraid to show themselves the same love that they show to others so freely. So make sure you're doing that every single day in whatever capacity and way that feels comfortable to you. And yeah, that's definitely one of my top tips for becoming that girl in 2022. My next tip is to declutter your space and your mind often. Now this is huge because I don't know if like we all realize how much our space affects us. I know that whenever my space is cluttered, things are all over the place, I personally feel very frantic. I get very panicked. And also I notice that I show up with a lot of chaotic energy. Now, one thing about being that girl, as I've mentioned several times throughout this video, is that girl shows up with a certain type of energy. I think what we're trying to get at when we're talking about becoming that girl is really like the energy portion of it, not necessarily like the aesthetic or the physical things about being that girl, which I think are important, but I do think the energetic parts of it are even more important. And if you want to show up with that calm energy, that positive energy, that vibrant energy, you have to make sure that your space reflects that. Because if you're sitting and being in a very chaotic space, your mind is going to become chaotic and you are going to show up with that frazzled energy. Have you guys ever met someone where once you met them, they were like just all over the place and it just made you uncomfortable? You were like, girl, you need to take a deep breath. Like you need to calm down. It is giving chaotic. It's giving wild. It's giving frantic. And you don't even want to be around them because you don't want to be in that energy and in that space. That is kind of what happens on an energetic level when we allow our space to become cluttered, when we allow our mind to become cluttered. Now, to declutter your space, it's obviously very simple. You're gonna wanna clean up your space. I love to do seasonal donations of clothes, get rid of anything, any clothing items or any specific thing in my home that no longer resonates. I know a lot of times we try to hold on to things, whether whether it's clothing items or actual physical items in our home, because we are so used to it. We get so used to things in our space. But know that letting go of something doesn't mean that like you hate it. Letting go of something can just be as simple as, I no longer feel like this resonates with me and who I am in this season, and I'm gonna give it away. I'm gonna donate it to someone who can benefit from it and use it in their season of life right now. So that's a really great way to declutter your space. Decluttering your mind is a little bit more different. It has more to do with slowing down, actually allowing yourself to be mindful and sit in the present moment. A lot of times I can find myself like thinking about the future, thinking about, okay, what's coming up on my plate, what's happened over here, thinking about things that happened in the past that I wish I could have changed, like just kind of finding myself sitting in any particular moment of a reality that's not the present moment. And I always try to ground myself and bring myself back down to the present moment. One like trick or a way to do this is something that I actually saw or I've seen people talk about it when it comes to anxiety, and that's kind of like tapping into your present moment by like thinking about, okay, what do I see around me right now? Like, what do I smell? What do I hear? What do I taste? Like, what's the other sense? Oh my gosh, I'm like forgetting it, but you guys know what I'm saying. Like just tapping into your current senses and what you're experiencing right now in this present moment. Now, it's a really good way to ground yourself, but it's also a really good way to sort of allow everything else to melt away and know that yes, the future is a thing. Like yes, you know, that's a particular thing that you're gonna have to experience at some point in time, but right now in this present moment, all we have is the present moment, and it's important for us to enjoy it, and it's important for us to sit in it, and it's important for us to actually allow ourselves to experience the present moment. Otherwise, we'll get to like that future moment and realize that we weren't really present when we wanted to be at the time. Now, I do have one bonus tip for you guys, and that is to listen to the Manifest Daily podcast. If you guys are here, you probably already listened to my podcast. I think a lot of you guys have migrated over from the podcast and found me on Spotify, and now you're here. Thank you so much for listening, by the way. But if you are new and found me on YouTube and you're kind of like, who is this girl? I have a podcast called Manifest Daily. And on Manifest Daily, we talk a lot about spirituality, lifestyle, goals, finances, dating, basically all of the things to become that girl in your life, to become the main character, to love yourself, to love your reality, to manifest your dream life and create the reality that is truly, truly, truly perfect for you. So if you're looking for a new podcast to listen to, or you're just curious about how you can kind of get more resources, more content, more information to become the best version of yourself that you can be, go ahead and check out my podcast called Manifest Daily. It's literally on every single streaming platform like Google, Apple, Spotify, Deezer, literally all the things. You can find it everywhere. But my loves, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. I truly, truly, truly hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something new today, and I hope that this video has inspired you to really go on to your journey and really tap into becoming that girl, whatever that means for you. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you watching. Please make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Also give this video a thumbs up. Y'all know how the algorithm works. If you liking them, you know, them engagements, okay, comment down below as well. And I will chat with you, my loves, in the very next video. Bye.